Thank you so much. And I want to make an addition to that. It's harvesting digital gold, metaphysical gold. So thank you so much for letting me come here and share with you guys. I love to talk about this topic, which is specifically crypto, blockchain, and how that can be used to compound on our real lives and really help us disconnect and separate ourselves from these systems and be in self-custody and actually be in control of our finances. So I want to start by just sharing a little bit about my past and how I got to this point. So for 10 years, I was an accountant. I was a tax preparer. And so I was actually supporting the system and helping the system stay alive. I did that for about 10 years, did thousands of tax returns. And it wasn't until 2012 that I heard about Bitcoin and started learning more about it. And that was the waking moment for me. I had a red pill moment before that, which was I watched Zeitgeist. I don't know if you guys ever watched that documentary. And the other one was Loose Change, which was about 9/11 and the banking system. That blew my mind wide open, but I was, 22 or 23. I was like, what am I going to do? I don't know what to do. I'm just one person. So I just went back to my, 9-to-5 job and kept going. And then Bitcoin came out. And 4 years later, I saw the white paper and read it and saw what its potential was immediately. I think because I had a math background, it was really easy for me to connect the dots. And that's when I went all in. That's when I was like, this is it. This is what we've been missing to truly separate us from these systems. Fast forward 5 years or so, I really went hard into it. I really put all my time and energy into this, mostly because I had a health crisis. My whole body went into hives. From head to toe, my eyeballs had hives, my teeth felt like they were itching. And that to me was the signal, like what you're doing is not working. What you're doing is not what you're supposed to be doing. And so that's when I went all in to crypto, and when I went all into my passions. I'm also an actor, so I moved to California to pursue acting, to pursue crypto. And in the third year of being in California, that's when I hit my dark night of the soul. That was my bottom, which was so the hives kept coming back. I still had that coming up in my life. I was married, and my wife at the time, we were very disconnected, and so we separated and eventually got divorced. And then and all this within about 10 months. And then my house caught on fire, and I lost everything. My car was in the garage underneath, so all of that caught on fire, and I literally lost everything. But I had my crypto. I had about $18,000 in crypto in 2017. Or 2016 going into 2017. And then that year there was a bull run. So that was the dark night of my soul. I mean, I felt like I hit rock bottom. I have nothing. I don't know what to do. I actually started smoking weed every single day from morning to night because I just didn't want to feel what I was feeling. It didn't feel good. Then the bull run happened. With Bitcoin specifically, the value of Bitcoin started going up, and that brought life back into me, and I started going deeper into the information, the layers, and like, how does this thing work? Why does it work the way it does? Is it the tool that we've been waiting for? Is it the solution to really help? And long story short, once I made my success with it, I turned 17,000 into about 21 million in about a year and a half. And I forgot I need to get my cloaker. And yeah, thank you. Which was amazing. I mean, to me it was, imagine being on one side of the spectrum on a relationship to money, and then getting thrown to the other side. And then you have all these resources. Like, I don't know what to do with this. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't have a good relationship with money. And so I really learned the hard way. I started to realize about risk management, and I started to realize about investing properly and how to diversify properly. Think of crypto as the most evolved version of transactional energy, okay? This is where I finally realized what I was really looking at. I realized that we started off very slow with transacting, and now through technology, through innovation, we got to this point where now we have a frictionless system. There's no permission needed to be able to transact with each other. And so that realization was really all I needed to go, I need to teach this. I need to take this to the next level and make sure that people can see what I'm seeing. Because I noticed that the mainstream narrative, the media, is creating this whole different perspective of the space. And it's creating the traps, it's creating it's basically, they're taking the old traditional concepts, putting it on the blockchain, calling it new, and then selling it to you on mainstream media. And so I felt the pull to go, I gotta make sure that people really see how you can use this, how we can properly use these systems to disconnect. So, let me go to that first slide. There it is. So I want to start by a quote here. Our greatness lies not so much in being able to remake the world as being able to remake ourselves. That's Mahatma Gandhi. And then this is Dr. Joe Dispenza. I wrote his last name wrong. You cannot see the way out of a challenge if you are looking at it every day from the same level of mind, emotions, thoughts, feelings of the past. So I quickly realized that, because of mainstream narratives and normalization of behavior and repetition, it was very difficult for people to let go of what they're used to. And it requires letting go. It required, peeling back the layers of limitations for ourselves to be able to see the potential of the new system. Oh, that's right. So it all goes back to this, Plato's analogy of the cave. I mean, and I believe this to be the key to pretty much anything that you lack awareness in. This essentially tells the story of our reality. Think of the Matrix movie. This is the creation, the metaphysical explanation of how the Matrix works. And I was this guy right here. I was that guy for many, many, many years, just watching TV. I love that growing up, watching movies, watching TV. But what's happening here is you have the majority watching what's on the screen. You have the ones making the shadows, making the movies. You have the ones taming the light to create the shadows. And then you realize you're underground. So the point of that is we are in a current matrices of manipulation to keep you in a state of I'm not powerful, or externalizing your power to something else. And what does that do? That creates dependency. That's what it's about. If you really look at all your 5 layers that make you up, mental, emotional, spiritual, relational, physical, and you start to look, how am I dependent? What am I dependent on? What do I need to feel something, to feel connected, to feel worthy? Money. And you go down that list and you'll see what you're dependent on in centralized systems, what you're giving your power to feel something. Yeah, there it is, and that's what's happening now. Go back. I'm going to show that again. So that's if you saw that, that's the metaverse, right? Meta. They're perpetuating they're using different technologies, using different tools to continue playing that Matrix movie, to continue creating a reality that's your only choice. And so all of this to kind of describe that blockchain is not what's evil. Crypto is not what's evil. Bitcoin is not what's evil. It's the one using it. It's the one yielding it. It's the one that creates it. It's the intention behind it. So I believe if we're not utilizing these tools, if we're not, trying to become aware of how can I benefit from this, we're limiting ourselves, choosing limitations. We're choosing to be comfortable, to feel safe. And that's okay. It's a choice. But is that going to help you become the best version of yourself? Is that going to get you closer to your goals? This is the current system. The current system has been used, it has been tried many, many other times. And you can see here, you had Spain, I always forget NL, what that is. If you know what that is, let me know, NL. Netherlands, thank you. Netherlands, France, UK. There's a shelf life for fractionalized, centralized banking systems of 90 to 110 years. And the US is nearing about 110 years, 120 years almost. We're at that pivotal point. And so I believe it actually started in 2008 when the real estate market crashed. That was the beginning of the unwinding. And now we're feeling its major effects of that, of the system finally losing its power. The U.S. dollar, a lot of people know this, but 3 or 4 months ago, the BRICS nations overtook the gross domestic profit of the U.S. dollar. So it's been de-dollarized. The reserve currency is not the dollar anymore, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So these systems are not supposed to last. And so I actually believe that blockchain was the solution to take over. And because of its nature, you can be aware and use it properly, or you can not do the work and not care and just be sucked into what they create. And go, yeah, the government, tell me what to do. Let's not be that guy. This is it. Okay? And I'm not trying to create fear here. I'm not trying to create, panic. The point of this is awareness. And like everyone's been saying recently, water priestess, like goodness gracious, that aligned with everything that I know and teach. What's happening here is a game. They've created a game and have not taught us the rules. That's it. And so it's not about what this means here is treating it as like a religion. No, there's no way it's going to go. There's an emotional response to the current system and what you feel safe in. All I'm saying is just be aware. Just figure out the layers, figure out the game. And if you start playing the game right, you can then start to benefit from that. You can actually, thrive in their system. I heard this earlier about the hero's journey, right? So the process of becoming aware of this new system requires letting go. And Joseph Campbell, this is not created by Joseph Campbell, it's somebody that read his books and created this. But essentially, there is a 4-quadrant structure to let go of limitations. Okay? It starts with unconscious incompetence. So not being conscious of your incompetence. Then it's conscious incompetence, where you become aware of the bad habits. And then it's conscious competence. Most people stay in that state for most of their life, where they're consciously trying to do the good stuff. And the last one being the master, unconscious competence, where you've done it 10,000 hours. You've done it enough times where now it's muscle memory. So the hero's journey, if you've ever watched any movie, any TV show, all those are structured around the hero's journey. That's why it feels so good to watch. That's why it's fun to watch, because you have to go through a process of awareness, and then you leave the house, you go into awareness of your limitations, you get introduced to a guide, that's going to help you move through it. And then there's a boss that you have to beat, the limitations, you have to conquer them, and then you become the best version of yourself, or you become the hero of your story. So this process is required. It really is. It is required to peel back those layers. And you're going to go through this. The 5 stages of grief. Most people believe like you just kind of go through the path. No, it's more like on the right. At least my experience. I was jumping around all over. And you're going to have, as you're peeling back the layers of limitations, you're going to have kickback with yourself. And so just be patient, breathe through it, and go to the next thing. And what I'm showing you here are different facets, different ways to look specifically at your relationship with anything. My belief is that God, the universe, the conscious collective, is in relationships. It's not in the thing, it's in how you relate to it. Because I can do, one person can do one type of action and have not a clear intention, and I can do the same action and have a clear intention and have a whole different result. So how you relate is where God's at. And so here in this facet, specifically with a relationship to transactional energy, you're going to be jumping back through that process of grief and peeling back the layers. You're going to become either the player in the game or the observer. The player in the game or the player of the game. Think of it like a video game. Anybody ever play video games? So you have the character inside the screen. He's jumping around. He's shooting. He has his rules, right? The rules of the game. He walks too far. You hit an invisible wall, right? Why is that? Oh, the coder said, no, this is it. So that little guy has limitations. And then there's the player of the game. The player of the game has the remote control in their hands. They're choosing what to do with the character. They can go to a different level. They can go to a different world. They can turn the game off and go outside, right? So who do you want to be? You want to be the player in the game, or you want to be the player of the game? Different set of rules. Same game, but just a different set of rules. And so this process here, depending on how long you normalize the behavior, can take 42, 60 days, 90 days, if you do it repetitively every day. But you're going to be jumping back and forth. You're going to be in it, and then hopefully you're going to jump out of it, and you're going to be curious and go, why did I do that? What happened there? And for me, my goal has always been to shorten the amount of time between being the player and being the observer. The shorter I can get it, the better. That's just how I've created it for myself. So what I want to leave you with is this. 3-step process to taking back power and control of your lives, power and control of your wealth, power and control of your sovereignty, your autonomy. First step is protecting your spirit. And I didn't give you guys points here. This is what it is. No, I gave you some questions because it's individualized. I can't tell you what that is for you. What does it mean to protect your spirit? I don't know. What is spiritual to you? So I just started asking these questions. What does it mean to feel worthy to you? What does that mean? Is your self-worth internalized or externalized? You know what that means? In society, I believe they've normalized the externalization of self-worth, meaning we give value, more worth to the things we have than ourselves. And so what happens with that? It's a black hole. You're feeding into something that's not going to give you the energy back. So if your worth is internalized, and you know what you are worth, then those things around you just become tools. They just become these things that we can manipulate to create and to manifest and to reach our goals. How dependent are you on centralized systems? Emotionally, spiritually, mentally, rationally, physically. How are you physically in relationship to those? Who are you physically in relationship to the centralized fictional systems? This goes back to the water priestess. Who are you physically in relationship to those systems? If you identify with the digital legal version of you, they will control you, or you will feel the pressure of those systems. If you identify with the physical, right here, you can touch me, then you've now become free, just by identification or how you see yourself. So, nope, go back. Right there. And then the second one is protect your worth. Are you functioning in the public sector or the private sector? Are you truly in, what that means, the first one is the structures is, are you identifying as Anderson, Mr. Anderson, or are you identifying as Neo? And that's just like how you perceive yourself in that reality. Are you truly in self-custody of your assets and investments? And how safe is it from taxman, mainstream narratives, and politicians? That's something that I'm creating for myself and my community right now. I'm creating a whole separate private monetary system that is not dependent on mainstream narratives, mainstream anything. And it actually holds its own value. It's a complex conversation there, but it's possible. It's possible now for us to create our own ecosystem that has value coming from our internalized self-worth. And not any government, not anything else. And then the last thing here, teach your kids. You want to create generational wealth? That's the only way. Teach the kids. You can create all these systems, you can put them all up and ready to go, and then you don't actually provide a path for your children to embody it. It won't take very long before their relationship to money starts to siphon the energy out of your ecosystem. So mindset, education, and action steps. Do the work with your kids. All right, and I got no more time here, so I'll leave you guys with this last thing. Okay, so this is the last thing here. This is a stock to FOMO model of Bitcoin's deflation in correlation to the US dollar's inflation rate. And if you see here, it says right here, because of the forever rising inflation of the dollar and the forever deflation of Bitcoin, there will come a time where you won't be able to exchange any amount of dollar for any amount of Bitcoin because the dollar will be worthless because of the inflation rate and because Bitcoin is deflating. That means it's getting more rare. And so the date that they give you is May 21st, 2029. I don't know if you know Robert Edward Grant, the mathematician. Yeah. He checked this and he's like, oh, that's right. And it's like, this is not just for the dollar either. It's all the fiats in the world right now. We have pretty much have a limited time to secure our wealth and put it into self-custody. So again, not trying to create fear, just trying to give you that perspective. All right, well, and then this will be the last thing I say here. The point is, what we're trying to do here is restructure our relationships. It's like in a relationship between couples struggling to communicate and then having their inner child react to feel safe. Actions that are often destructive create division, but by bridging the gap of language, by definition, intention, depth, and frequency, we can find that both always wanted the same thing, to be seen, to be heard, and to be loved. All that to say, the more we really work on ourselves and connect with each other on that deeper meaning, on that deeper depth of connection, the more we can start to solidify the path for ourselves, the path of choice. So it takes that ownership, it takes doing the work, it takes starting with self, and then, teaching our kids and moving it forward. All right, thank you guys so much, I appreciate it. And then this shirt right here, this is actually my shirt that I'm selling right there, so if you want to be a part of my community, this is the ticket in. It's the Resonation shirt.